I've come to a place today where, up until recently, I knew absolutely nothing about. I'd seen the place name on maps and signposts, but nothing more than that. Now, I became more intrigued about this place, so I decided to eventually come and discover it for myself. This is the wonderful Hebden Bridge. Hebden Bridge is a West Yorkshire market town in the upper Calder Valley, 8 miles west of Halifax, at the confluence of the River Calder and the River Hebden. It started as a settlement where the Halifax to Burnley packhorse route dropped into the valley and crossed the River Hebden where the old bridge stands. Steep hills with fast-flowing streams and access to major wool markets meant that Hebden Bridge was ideal for water-powered weaving mills, and the town developed during the 19th and 20th centuries. At one time, Hebden was known as Trouser Town because of the large amount of clothing manufacturing. Drainage of the marshland, which covered much of the upper Calder Valley before the Industrial Revolution, enabled construction of the road which runs through the valley. Before it was built, travel was only possible via the ancient packhorse route which ran along the hilltop, dropping into the valleys wherever necessary. During the 1970s and 80s, the town saw an influx of artists, writers, photographers, musicians, alternative practitioners, teachers, and green and new age activists. This in turn saw a boom in tourism to the area. In April 2005, a magazine declared Hebden Bridge as the 4th quirkiest place in the world and described it as modern and stylish in an unconventional and stylish way. It has built a reputation for great little shops and has an unusually high density of independent shops for a UK town of its size. Hebden Bridge has a diverse music scene, ranging from musicians busking on the streets, jam sessions, open mics and workshops, to performances of choral and classical music at various events and venues. The Arts Festival and Fringe Arts Festival take place every year at the end of June. The traditional Pace Egg plays are an annual Easter event, and the Midsummer Hebden Bridge Handmade Parade is a bright non-commercial variation on the small town parade. The town also hosts the Hebden Bridge Blues Festival during the spring bank holiday, attracting musicians and audiences from around the world. Hebden Bridge lies close to the Pennine Way and Hardcastle Crags, and is popular for outdoor pursuits such as walking, climbing and cycling. It is also on the route of the Calderdale Way, a circular route of about 50 miles around the hills and valleys of Calderdale. When I was about 6 or 7, we used to watch these programmes at primary school. Now, one such programme was called Look and Read, which was designed especially to teach kids reading. And Look and Read was basically a set of serials, and one such serial was called Joe and the Sheep Rustlers. Now recently, when I was looking on the internet, I found out some information about Joe and the Sheep Rustlers, and I actually discovered that it was filmed in and around Hebden Bridge. Once I had discovered that Joe and the Sheep Rustlers had been filmed around Hebden Bridge, I became more intrigued. So I thought, well, maybe one day I'll come and have a look for myself. However, it was when I was doing further research on the internet that I discovered something else. Something which gave me that final push to come here as soon as I could.
Today we're in West Yorkshire, a place called Hebden Bridge. We've been talking to everybody and anybody as we've gone round, and we've had a great time. The people have made us very, very welcome. We hope you've enjoyed our walk in Hebden Bridge. You've been walking with a taxi driver today.
So it was the taxi driver, the team of 2 people who I was lucky to meet last year, who made that final decision for me to come and visit Hebden Bridge for myself. They had filmed 2 walks in and around Hebden Bridge, both of which are on YouTube, and whilst I was watching, I thought, wow, I've really got to come here for myself. Their videos were as brilliant and informative as always, and they showed that Hebden Bridge and the surrounding countryside was really lovely. So, after watching, I made my very first visit here last year. Hebden Bridge lies on the Rochdale Canal, a navigable broad canal with its wide locks, which allow vessels up to a width of 14 feet. The canal runs for 32 miles across the Pennines from the Bridgewater Canal in Manchester to join the Calder and Hebble navigation at Sowerby Bridge. It was time to start today's walk, so I began to make my way westwards, following the canal towpath. Well, I actually ended up finding Joe and the Sheep Rutters on YouTube. Somebody had uploaded it, so I had to watch it out of nostalgia's sake, and it was great to see it again after so many years. But I even recognised some of the locations that were used in it, including here. Some scenes were shot where I'm standing now. After a short stroll along the towpath, I reached the Pennine Way, which crosses the canal, so I turned off here to leave the Rochdale Canal and follow a section of the Pennine Way northwards. The path climbed up very steeply, but the views were worth the effort. I could see Stoodley Pike on the opposite side of the Calder Valley, with Stoodley Pike Monument on its summit. The monument stands over 100 feet tall and was built to commemorate the defeat of Napoleon's armies at the Battle of Leipzig. After what seemed a very long and steep climb, the Pennine Way, to my relief, began to level out, as I was now surrounded by the lovely open country of Calderdale. I walked on towards Badger Lane, near Blackshaw Head, and up to Pry Hill. are blessed with so much wonderful countryside here in this country. If I didn't go abroad again, I wouldn't be that bothered. I'm hoping to go abroad again, but if I don't, just for argument's sake, it's not the end of the world for me, because I think there is just so much to see on our own country. I mean, look at this. Beautiful. When I made my one visit to Hebden Bridge last year, it was just a brief visit to the town itself. I didn't really explore the surrounding countryside. But coming here today for the first time, it's gorgeous, look at it. Why would you want to go abroad with countryside like this? I dropped down to reach Colden Water, where a clapper bridge, possibly dating from the 17th century, crosses the stream. The bridge is a Grade 2 listed structure. Crossing the footbridge, I left the Pennine Way to follow a section of the Calderdale Way. This path led me eastwards, keeping more or less parallel above Colden Water. Well, as I admire that dramatic view over into Calderdale, I'm just approaching the village of Heptonstall. Heptonstall was the site of a battle during the early part of the English Civil War in 1643. Historically a centre for handloom weaving, Heptonstall's cottages and terraced houses are characterised by large first-floor windows to maximise the light for weaving. Each year, on Good Friday, there are performances of the Heptonstall version of the traditional pace egg play. These are held in Weavers Square next to the old graveyard. The village is a day trip destination for tourists and walkers, especially in the summer months. The two public houses are the Cross and the White Lion. There is a small post office and a cafe and delicatessen situated in Towngate. I descended very steeply from Heptonstall as I walked the cobbled lane known as the Buttress back into Hebden Bridge. Just over a year ago when I made my first visit to this area. And as I said earlier, I only made a brief visit to the town itself. I didn't really explore more of the surrounding countryside like I have today, and it has been lovely, it really has. It just shows that I need to get out to more places more often. But I really should say a big thank you to the taxi driver, because really it was they who first introduced me to this wonderful place. The town that is Hebden Bridge. Well, I've just finished my day with a nice meal here at the Hare and Hounds behind me. It was actually somewhere I found on TripAdvisor and it had good reviews, and I must say it was really nice. It's quite a big pub but very cosy inside, and I chose pie and mash. I always go for pie if it's on the menu because it's one of my favourites. But they had some very unusual pies. The pie I had was beef bourguignon. But I'll tell you, it was very nice indeed. So, as I say, perfect end to a perfect day.